more precious than Sharon's roses, yes. You are the God of glory, yeah. The angels declare you're holy, yes. They cry hallelujah. You are perfect in your ways. With you there are no mistakes. No, no. The works of your hands declare your praise. They say hallelujah. Say Adonai, you are the most high. Hey, El Shaddai, you are the most high God. Hey, King on high, you are the most high. Hey, hey, hey. We say hallelujah. The stars cannot match your brightness, no. Ooh. You give the sun its light. Ooh. In you does my soul delight, yes, Lord. Hallelujah. And we join the host of heaven, yes. We're lifting our hands up high. Oh, we cast our crowns before you, yeah. We cry hallelujah, yeah. Adonai, you are the most high. Hey, you are the most high. El Shaddai, you are the most high God. Hey, hey, hey. King on high, hey. You are the most high God. We say hallelujah. Oh, 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 El Shaddai, yeah. You are the most high God, yeah. King on high, yeah. Oh, King on high, you are the most high, yeah. Oh, we say hallelujah. We lift our hands and we sing hallelujah, say hallelujah, hallelujah. All creation sings your praise to the most high God. Hallelujah, 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 hey, hallelujah, hallelujah. We lift our hands and sing, praise ye the Lord. say hallelujah. We join the host of heaven. Most High is my most recent work, and it's my first official worship song. It features Nathaniel Bassey, and to be honest, I don't even know where it came from. I just found myself working on it. I went through my phone to see my voice note, where it originated from. I can't remember what I was doing or what came over me when I put the idea down and started working on it. But the response has been very humbling, you know. It's a song from heaven, and it was produced by me. I started music when I was really young. I grew up in a family that were interested in music. They loved music, and my mom was in the choir. My siblings were in choirs at some point in their lives. So, you know, at home you would hear one or two people singing. Yeah. So that's where it started from. And you know, when I became of age to be able to sing in a choir, I was 7, and I joined the children's choir in our church then. And it was a really musical church. They loved music, music-oriented church. They loved music. This was in Benin. They had so many musical instruments, and they had music school sort of for instrumentalists, and they had more than 7 different choirs, you know, women's choir, children's choir, youth choir. So you were always kept on your toes, so to speak, as a musician in that church, singer or instrumentalist, you know. And it really affected me because I wanted to be part of what was going on. So I joined the children's choir, and you know, when we left that church to another church, that's when I realized how much impact that church had had in me musically, where I could tell when somebody was singing off key and all that. And little by little, people started, I didn't know how much I could sing still, but people started noticing how well I could sing, and they would give me responsibility. Come and sing, come and help us to do this, you know. I was in a church from just after finishing secondary school to, you know, when you're waiting at home for JAM to let you go. So I was in a church where the choir master there really, he heard me, he loved that I could sing, and he would give me tapes then to go home and go and score. You know, people like Kirk Franklin, Hezekiah Walker, Fred Hammond, Shirley Caesar. He would tell me to learn the songs, learn all the parts, and come and teach the choir, because I was good with harmonies as well. So I think this really improved me. This exposed me to a lot of gospel music, but also improved me, you know, and helped me discover that, you know, I discovered that I had a good ear for music, and in teaching the choir, I was learning so much at the same time. So I wanted to take it to another level, I never knew I would ever be able to write a song or record. I just wanted to be active in church, and you know, I just wanted the choir that I was part of to be the best. So I was always very active in church, in music. So at some point, I really got interested in writing. I started writing a few songs because that same choir master encouraged us to see if we could do our own stuff. So I started writing a few songs. I would do things like, all these old cassette players that have two sides, side A and side B. You can record with side B, you can play generally with side A. And I was living with my brother, and he had this 5-loader DVD that had a slot for, you could use it for karaoke, so it had a slot for a mic. So I would use my headphones as a mic and get 2 tapes, record into the first tape, record one part, maybe I'm trying to record a harmony, and then I'll bring out the tape that I recorded in, put it inside A and play it. So as it's playing back what I recorded, I record on top of it as well into the second cassette. So I was doing that, and it hit me how I could, I could produce, I could try to write, not production yet. I could try, let me just write something, So when I got into the university and I started sampling some of my songs, I was in a group then, Solid Melodies, when I taught them, because the person that introduced me to the group said, oh, we're not looking for singers, we have a lot of singers, we're not looking for lead singers, we're looking for songwriters and people who can rap. And I said, oh, okay, I can try it. Being a very strong hip-hop fan when I was growing up, I said, I can try it, I can. And when I presented some of my songs that I had written, they were stunned that, oh, you wrote this song, and that's how I was just discovering little by little. My story is not one of, this is what I wanted to be from the beginning. I was studying engineering, electrical engineering in school then, the University of Benin. So there was that group on the side. So little by little, I started gaining interest in creating my own sound, creating my own music. So I got introduced to a software that you could produce without necessarily being able to play the keyboard, play any instrument. So my experience from scoring music to teach the choir, I think it built that ability to create music inside of me, So I started trying my hands on production, and the production skyrocketed everything, where I could now write a song. I created my own flow, workflow from idea to product, which is the song, So that's where the producer part came in. So the singer part came first, songwriter came next, producer came afterwards. So I continued, I was in ministry, I was active in ministry in school. I had become a pastor by then in a campus fellowship, in a campus ministry. So little by little, I even stayed back after our time in school was done, but I stayed back to continue ministry. And I started writing like never before, and the rest is history. I don't have any style. I break a lot of rules because, okay, yes, maybe I'm more comfortable with soul, high life, R&B than rock, but you'll never pin me down to say, okay, this is your genre, because I combine sounds a lot. I can make it Afrocentric, I can make it just plain maybe popular music, or plain rock, but then I like to blend. And whatever idea comes to my head, I don't restrict myself to any rules. So I call my genre a style of no style. It's a mixture of everything. You know. Yes, my relationship with him is that of a son to a father. Now, the kind of sonship that bears responsibility, not just inherits the inheritance, but he bears responsibility. So sometimes we try to separate sonship from stewardship or servanthood, but they are the same. They are all in one. As a son, you are both a citizen, so he's your Lord, he's your King. As a son, you are also serving him, so he's your master. And he created you, so he's your creator. So the Father creates, employs, empowers you. So it's all embedded in sonship. God is the creator of everything. He's the most powerful force in existence because he predates existence as we know it. And then he's also my father. So God is eternal. Time is inside of him. The universe is inside of him. So it's just you can't exhaust God in words, but he's my father. So I've come to embrace his love as a father, as my father. So he is a father to me.
Welcome to the show. It is Church Culture right here on Channels TV. As you know, Church Culture is that show that talks about everything and anything that affects everyday Christians in Nigeria, but is oftentimes not discussed in the church. So we bring, church issues into a informal setting. That's what we kind of do, okay? And on today's show, like I said, my guests are so amazing. On my right, I have Mr. Olakanmi Amoo Onidundun. Did I get that right? I did. I'm so happy. Thank you, Jesus. Now, Mr. Amoo is one of the pastors of New Covenant Church and also the founder of OMP Consult. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being in the studio with us. And on my left, yes, I have the delectable Lamide Akintobi. Lamide Akintobi, as most of you probably know, is a media personality. She's always in your face, looking so fly.
Thank you.
Looking so pretty.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I just want to, adjust my seat a little bit because we need to get comfortable for what we're about to discuss.
Yes, we do.
What we're discussing today is the very important topic of bribery. And I feel like it is so important for us to shed light on these topics because in our society, we are familiar with it. It's not something we're not unfamiliar with. So you are driving down the road and the policeman there is asking you for Sunday gifts. You are coming out of church, and you get a phone call and you realize that you have to settle last month so that they don't tow your car. Things like that. So I want to understand, first of all, what is bribery? How do we even contextualize it in a society where it's such a part of our culture?
Okay, I want to say quickly that setting the context of bribery, it's a gift or anything given, okay, to subvert cause of justice. Okay, so it's not a tip,
okay,
which is willingly given,
okay,
and is a little bit different from extortion, which is forced, to elicit out of you.
Yeah.
So a little bit different, even though they're joined.
Okay. And Lamide, what would you say?
I would say that this is when you give a gift that you didn't want to give in order to change what should happen to maybe what you want to happen. So that's sort of what I would class bribery as.
Okay, so why is it such a big part of our culture? What have we gotten wrong?
As I tell people, culture is something that evolves. It wasn't part of our culture when we were growing. It wasn't. It was really a thing of shame to give bribe. Indeed, the Yoruba translation for bribe was the money you give at the back. Huh? Yeah. But today, it's given openly for you to know that things have really gone downstream. So it's used not to be part of our culture.
So
but
what happened?
I will let you know that also there was a particular state in the governance of this nation when almost everyone at the top echelon, okay, was bribed, okay, and it changed our psyche.
Yeah.
All right, there was a government that made it a culture, bribing their way through to bring about policies and and I think since that government left power, it became the order of the day.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, so perhaps I don't remember the same, I don't have the same memories of the government and whatnot as you do, but I definitely agree that we have a culture that's evolving. And to be honest, we always we learn things, don't we, from what we see. Yes. So when what you see is a system which doesn't work and people are making it work by any means necessary, most of the time by extorting, or maybe not say, let's not say extorting. But getting money out of people so that, they can do this for you and they can do it for you a bit faster. They can do this for you a little bit better if you just do a little bit extra. Then you have a whole group of people who grew up seeing that and then emulating that. And then you have a system in its entirety that doesn't work.
The book of Proverbs made us to understand that you must not take bribe. It says bribe blinds the eyes of the judge. Okay, and when you look at the time when Moses was to elect the 70 elders plus 2 eventually, it was said that one of the quality are people who cannot be bribed to be judged. Okay, so subversion of justice has been something that, because don't forget, God is so passionate about protecting the poor, the needy, the widows and all that. So if you can bribe your way, if you buy your way, even to achieve justice, it will be something that is totally against the will of God, because He wants to protect the poor. And the judges are there, kings are there to protect the poor. And when also you look at the appointment of bishops in the book of Timothy, it says they are not greedy of filthy lucre. They're not people who are all after money. It's an allusion to bribery.
Okay, so then is bribery only money? Can I just bribe? Is it just money that people use to bribe?
I think it's the easiest and most common thing, and it's the most tangible thing, right? But I think you can bribe people with other things. I mean, sometimes it's not cash you're handing over, but you're handing things over that you buy with cash. Somebody might, bribe you with a gift. Some people can bribe you with time, in essence, right? So they know that if I spend a few more minutes here, or I spend an hour here with this person, I can convince them that I am this kind of person, so they'll do this for me instead. I think that's more with interpersonal relationships too, not necessarily with the policeman on the road. Like, you could spend 5 minutes, you could spend all day. They still want their money. But with other people, you could probably spend time or some kind of, so maybe an emotional deposit.
What I'm hearing from both of you is that bribery is not something a Christian should indulge in.
No, but we do.
It shouldn't be.
Lamide, you just said something. You said we do. We do.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I now want to come to a practical question. How do you not bribe in this country? Pastor, talk to me.
Well, I think before the set, I was discussing with Lamide, a particular circumstance in which I know the law that says that, look, the police should give me 24 hours to produce license and all that. Else, they will impound my car. They will just approve maybe one of my car papers and all that. But this man thought, because he knew my house was very far, I would part with something. And I said, look, I'm a pastor, I've told you the truth. I will come to your station to give you this. He said, no, I should park my car there. So I parked my car. Look, they always thrive on testing your resolve to go all the way, the due process. When you don't want to go the due process, sincerely you bribe your way. Look, bribery is just like any other sin. Sin is not expected of Christians, but Christians do sin. All right? If you want to cut corners, and all that, you will sin. Okay. So, look, so the basic thing is, bribery is, number one, due to ignorance in some cases. Number two, impatience. Okay, you want to cut corners and all that. Then number three is the fact that, look, it can become an habit. Instinctively done. Once you're used to it, that's just your way out. That's your way out. And all. So we must be careful as Christians. All right. Don't forget, we've defined it as anything you give, not only money, with the intention of subverting justice or due process. So thereby denying other people, of what is duly theirs.
Right. Okay, we'll be back after this.
Bribery is a gift, either monetary or what have you, to make somebody compromise standard up, because you do it because you want to receive. You want it to drop the standard to your benefit. That's what bribery is all about, basically. Making people compromise standards or compromise what they would have actions just for your benefit. Definition of bribery is relative. Like I tell people, it's not easy to measure morality, because where one's values ends is where another person picks up its own, his or her own. So you cannot really measure morality or bribe, because a lot of people have been compromised. I probably want to cite to an instance. I'm your friend. You call me up like 10 p.m., tell me your car is stuck on Third Mainland Bridge, and I get there in 10 minutes. I put you in my car, probably with my driver. You go back home, and I stay back with my friend, fix your car, get it back to you the following day. And 2 months later, I'm in your office, you're the director of procurement, I'm bidding for a contract. Naturally, you've been compromised. I don't have to give you money beforehand or after that to compromise you. I probably have done you a favor. You see, I do you a favor. When you call back favor, it's a bit of bribery. Unconsciously or consciously, many Nigerians or many people are getting involved in bribery. You see, bribery doesn't necessarily have to, I don't have to give you money to bribe you. Am I bribing with my loyalty? Am I bribing with my service or services? So if I can make myself available to you at your beck and call to do anything and everything, and by the time I need that one thing from you and you're in a position of authority to decide nay or against, you probably want to go for you want to decide in my favor, because you've been compromised over time. Naturally, nobody should get involved in bribery. Nobody should indulge in bribery, but we just find ourselves getting involved in it. The good thing about it is that we're just talking about bribery, not corruption. So bribery, it's like I said earlier, it's very difficult for us to measure these things. I'm not saying we should encourage it, but it will be very difficult for us to expunge it from our daily life. It's going to be difficult for us to do away with it or avoid it, because it's not about human interaction. Day in, day out, you interact with people. Because of interacting with people, people leave laudable impression on you, and you always want to keep them in your good books. There are some people that you just want to go out of your way to pacify or impress. So if you look at the wholesome definition of bribery, an average human being is involved in bribery. Christian, pagans, and what have you. You want to punish. The part of the Bible says, yes, you should not let the witch live. At the same time, they'll tell you that here there has no sin, should cast the first stone. And the same thing, you hear, okay, fine, Jesus came for the sinners, and But when you look at everything, you just want to find a middle ground. And when you start looking for midpoint, you compromise values too. Or maybe on this we start having angels more as Nigerians than Nigerians. That's the truth. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm not trying to create a dystopic like state, but that's the truth. We are sentimental as a people, as a nation. I probably want to get into office and I look at who can I trust to be my chief of staff. I won't tell you to bring your CV. I won't just publish it in the newspaper that I'm okay, please apply for the position of chief of staff in my government. Probably will look into my family and pick my cousin or my brother or probably a relative there to serve as my chief of staff, or someone that I've trusted over time. So it's we can reduce it to what is tolerable everywhere across the globe, by probably maintaining standard, pushing merit above sentiments or quota system and what have you. We should just more like stick with merit. That's the way out. To reduce it, no, you can never eradicate bribery. Because bribery is not just about money. Bribery has to do with a lot of things, gifts, gifts, actions, monetary gifts, monetary inducements as well. So bribery it involves a lot of things. If you look at it from, if you want to add a bit of, if you want to marry it with corruption, and you want to, that takes you to looking at graft, corporate graft or graft in government, then you can say that we should frown at. But bribery that involves everyday interaction, I don't see us eradicating it, but I see us reducing it. So what we can do is we have to keep promoting good values from home in church. We have to start rewarding merits. A bit of a bit of compensation, acknowledgement of services or things done on merit will motivate people to want to do things meritoriously, to want to get things meritoriously, and without compromising standards or values. So once we start doing that, it reflects from the home to the church. From the church, it reflects into the society. From the society, then the country can as well benefit from it. If you want any society to work, if you want the best in your society, if you want the best for your nation or for your family or for your church or your organization, you should do things, you should look beyond sentiment, you should stick with merit, you should promote the right set of values. With that, you're probably insulating yourself away from bribery, because there are some obvious inducements you can see. There are some that can I use this word? Diplomatic with their approach. They want to induce you, but they are not coming at you straight. They want to make you compromise standard, but they are not coming at you straight. They probably see your kids going to school in the morning, trekking to school, they stop by to give them a lift to school, do the same to bring them back from school, get friendly with you in a bit because they want to compromise you. Some people go with a long-term approach. Some just go very direct. I think everybody should just pray for the discerning spirit for you to know when people are doing things genuinely or they are not doing it to curry favor from you in future. Yes, we need to help each other. Yes, we need to be there for each other. And if we stop having this entitlement mentality to, because I've done this for him or her, she should be paying me with this or that, then we probably eradicate bribery in our homes too, because you see people saying, yes, my mom sent my uncle to school or to the university, so my uncle should buy me this or must do this. But if we remove the entitlement mentality, if we try to know, or the entitlement mentality from you've done somebody a favor, you don't have to get anything in return. And there's this saying in Yoruba land, I do it for God. Believe every heart is being done for God and you're not expecting a compensation on what have you, then we probably deal with bribery.
Pray for you. Make the grace of Jesus see you through. I could always pray for you. Some of us, they go our separate ways. Nakutori, we go, they tell when we see again of how God done bless me and bless you too. Pray for you, and even if I fall from you, you go always in my heart. It's not true, not true. I just want to let you know, say, whatever I do, I will always pray for you. We go surely meet again. And when we meet again, none of us go there in shame, but now from glory to glory, in Jesus' name, we go surely meet again. Oh, if I offend you before, forgive me, yeah. So that when we see again, you know go get TPB for me. We all need each other to see life through. Always pray for you, and even if I fall from you, you go always in my heart. It's not true. I just want to let you know, say, whatever I do, hey, And even if I'm far away from you, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I just want to let you know, say, whatever I do, even if I'm far from you, you will always in my heart. Not true. I love you with the love of Christ. I just want to let you know, say, whatever I do, I will always pray for you. Say, make the grace of God no come out and making peace never cease to pour upon you. Whatever you do, and in love to see you through. I just won't let you know, say, whatever I do, I will surely pray for you. Even if I'm far from you, you will always stay. I just won't let you know, say, whatever I do, I will always pray for you. And even if I'm far away from you, I just won't let you know, say, whatever I do, I will always pray for you. And even if I'm far from you, it's not true. It's not true. I just won't let you know, say, whatever I do, I will always pray for you.
Lamide, you work in entertainment, so you understand these things. You know, everybody understands this, but I feel like in this industry, in your industry, in this industry, it's almost unspoken. You know, in other words, I get you this gig, cut me my own. You know, how do you respond to that?
Well, I don't know if it's that I'm lucky or unlucky in the whole denial of things. I've been very lucky to not have to have dealt with it directly in that sense of someone saying, but if you come and present this, and I've not had that. I know that it happens a lot. I know, for example, with music, let's say with music is the most sort of blatant one. With when you're trying to get, you know, your song on the radio.
Your song on the radio.
You've got to water the ground for many people, not all. I know I know a couple of people who staunchly refuse to take money, who staunchly refuse to do that, and they're seen as mumu, but they're okay with that because that's just their own, you know, choice. I think that you have to make a line. And you have to draw that line and make it known that your integrity is more important to you than a kickback and whatever. And yes, be prepared to lose things. Be prepared to deny things. And be prepared to say, you know what, maybe I'm not the hottest, hippest, most happening person because I'm not giving this out. That's fine. But if you are a Christian and you truly believe, God will reward you. Because that's what the Bible says, right? You believe that your reward is in heaven, yes, but God will also not let you starve on this earth. He will also provide for you. He will also. So maybe you don't have all the Chanel bags, and you don't have all the Aquazures, and you don't have all the YSLs, but you have to be like, you know what, that's okay. I'm gonna get my little, you know, gold house in heaven, I'm gonna have my wall of Chanels, or whatever it is that Jesus wants to give me, I will have it all. If you truly believe, if you're really dedicated and committed to being a Christian in the true sense of the word, then you're gonna have to say, I can't do it too. And then you see what happens afterwards. Because some people, they just try you. They try you, they push you, and they see if you're gonna push back, or if you're gonna be like, all right then. And you have to just see if that you do the pushback and say, no, I can't do it. And then you figure it out from there.
Okay, so the people who are then asking to, because, you know, there's some Christians who would then say, I don't have a problem with it. You know, it's just the way life is. You know, if I introduce somebody to something, I expect, you know, a certain, you know, so the people who are doing it, is there something that they need to know? Are they
you've shown up
ignorant?
another scenario, which is different. Okay, there is something you call finder's fee. You know, you see, within the world of professionalism industry, okay, within which Lamide and myself were creative industry or any other business, you must understand that there are rules, okay, to do things. And there is no business, no matter any industry, that tells you that we accept bribe. Everyone frowns against it. So, but there are clear remuneration for finder's fee.
So can we explain what finder's fee is?
Okay.
And how do we then, at what point does it tip over to bribe?
Okay. Don't forget, we define bribe as subverting due process.
Yeah.
Okay? Finder's fee. There is an agreement.
Yeah.
If I bring this business to you your way, all right?
Yeah.
We will share it this way and all that. All right. Yeah. It's not subverting anything. It's not. I'm not. The person bringing the business is not sitting on that desk.
Yeah.
Okay, to influence the business your way. He's going to look for the business. It's just like a commission or whatever and all that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe Lamide wants to say something.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that it's with a lot of times with finder's fees and things and commissions and things like that. This is stuff that's put down in paperwork.
Yeah, in black and white.
You've got it. It's legally. It's okay. It's a transaction that doesn't have to be done under. You don't have to go to an ATM and start withdrawing some money and then give it to somebody in an envelope, in a brown envelope.
Traceable.
Yeah. It's traceable.
Yes.
It's not like the brown envelope thing, which as a journalist is another thing that we
that
have to deal
to
with.
happen. Yes.
Yeah, that
yes.
it does tend to happen. And as I said, it's because we have a system that's broken. You have sometimes companies that don't pay you for months, for years, and so you feel that you're forced because you have to make an income, but then you're exposed because of this job that doesn't pay you to people who can afford certain things, or people who want you to make sure you tell their story, or you make sure, and you say to yourself, well, maybe I would have told that story anyway. If they want to give me 20K,
so
at least
not?
I can fuel my car and buy petrol in the gen and all that kind of stuff, and then they take it.
So I want to, whose fault is this, right? So can we even blame it? Because, one of the things you said, Pastor, was that, at some point, this wasn't always the case. This wasn't the norm. And at some point in our history, we had a government that sort of made this the order of the day. They propagated it. They were just buying their way out of so many things, and it was a mess, right? So is the government's fault? Is it, because again, it's a culture thing, right? And you've also mentioned that systems are broken down. Things don't work as they should.
Maybe let me tell you this about culture. The locus of influence of leaders in pushing through culture, because culture is a summary of the way of life. It's a summary of the expressed values, okay, of a people. And you find that the locus of influence of leaders is so powerful in pushing through the society, what the culture will be. And that's why the fish rots first from the head. If the head is sound, the whole body will be sound. It will be difficult. We need leaders who don't only desire a society that is free of bribery and all that, but who have the will to push through, who have the will to step on toes and all that. All right? So the leaders, but also followers. Because where did we choose the leader? It was from the rotten. Okay? So if Lamide in our home, myself, every onlooker, each of us also know that I have a responsibility. I will say no, I will push back. Because Lamide said that. Some people are just waiting for you to push back and they will stop. All right. So if I push back and all that, and it goes around like that, I think,
I think we all have we have an individual responsibility. It's fine to say, but they're doing it, but they're anything. But that thing that parents always say, but if BC will jump in the fire, will you follow him and jump? You also have a responsibility as a parent, as a sister, as a friend, to be that person who does push back and be that person who does say no and be that person who lives that. You've got to live it. People need to see it. You shouldn't have to tell everybody what you do. People should see it. If you in your home, in your office, are known as that person who doesn't do this certain kind of thing, then people will be like, well, maybe it's not so bad, right? You teach the people who are in your influence, who are in your sphere of influence, who look up to you, who respect you. You teach them that, listen, this is not the right way to do things. You teach your children, you teach your younger ones, your siblings, whoever, your cousins, all that kind of stuff. You teach them that, listen, I know that this is what everybody does, but really, honestly, and I know this might sound so optimistic, honestly, it just takes one person to say, one person to do this. Because after one person says this to one person and another person says this to one, it starts to spread. At some point, things have got to change, and it's just they must. And so when one person, each one teach one, right? And each one teach one, and it goes and it goes and it goes. I really do think that a shift will be felt. It might not be everyone, and it might not be now. It might not be 1 year. It might take 5 or 10. But really, honestly, it's consistent effort, a consistent, concerted effort to do the right thing and then it'll spread. And that's what I believe.
So Lamide, let me ask. So you're in the media, you're in the creative space, and as a media personality, do you expect people to give you bribes? And when they offer, do you reject it? Do you say no? Is it a blessing?
No.
Is it not favor?
Wait, how many questions was that?
How
Okay.
many?
So
Like, I'm just asking.
Do I expect
How about if
kickbacks?
it's something you need, Lamide?
Girl, do you know how many things people have offered me that I need? I'm like, oh God, why am I a Christian? I should just take it. Seriously, sometimes you're like, God, you know I'm broke though. And you know this is really, like, okay, fine, I won't take it. I have that conversation. I'm like, gee, let me holler at you real quick. Do I expect kickbacks? No, I do not. Do I take kickbacks when they're obvious? You see, the thing is, it's the intent. If I know someone is giving me something because they want to get something or because they want me to shun someone so that they can be, then I won't take it. As an individual, in general, like when people give me things, I find it hard to accept gifts. If it's not my birthday or something like that, like I don't like to take from people. Yeah. So like clear celebration, Christmas, whatever. But it's the intent, as I said. You know, I don't think that it's right to take something from someone if you're going to do it anyway. Just do it because you're going to do it. Your blessing will come. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Okay, Pastor.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Well, Lamide, thank you. She said something about birthdays and all that, you know, seasons of goodwill and all that.
Christmas.
You know, goodwill, okay?
Wedding.
Yeah, and all that. But even in corporate circles, you will find out that, look, the category of gift that you can receive is clearly stated. Any gift above this must be reported, because look, it has the potential
To sort of
to change your course of action.
Yeah.
And you know, it can be so planned that, look, you know, the person knows that, look, there is a tender that has been put out in the open, you know, and that will be due, you know, for closing in 3 months' time.
Hey, but Pastor, what if it's Christmas season?
Well, that's
and
what I said.
send a nice hamper.
You know.
If I send a nice hamper to you, so Pastor, imagine I'm doing work for you.
That's why I said that's season of
And you
goodwill,
send me a
and
hamper.
that's generally accepted. There's a custom of general, but he sends you a Benz,
As Christmas present.
a Bugatti.
That ain't a present, girl. That's something that they're trying to collect on in the future.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, you know, okay. So are you now saying that one now has to look, even if I'm not in the corporate setting, do I have to look at the class of the gift?
Please check the class of the gift.
Okay.
Don't let it be a gift with a hook.
Because that's not a gift, that's a trap.
All right? It can be a trap. Okay. And so we must be very careful about that. Any gift that you know can influence you, ask a question again.
That's
Any
such a
gift
good
that
thing
can
to,
influence you.
Because,
Because
you know,
I was actually going to ask that question, like, as a Christian, if you've practiced this, in other words, you've given bribes, you've accepted bribes, and you now want to sort of, you know, get on a clean slate. What can you do practically? First of all, how do you even draw that line? Because there's a difference between a bribe and a tip, like you said earlier. But it's a thin line, isn't it?
It's a thin line.
So how do you discern?
I mean, I don't even know if it's really a thin line, to be honest, because I used to be a waitress. After college, I was a waitress, and you know, a tip is anything from 15 as a waitress, 15 or 20% and up, right? So if you have a meal of $20, an acceptable tip is maybe $4 or $5 on that. If somebody gives you $500 on a $20, no, they could be, no, it happens,
You have
because
to
some people are
report
very general, but very generous. But you make sure the person has left first time, because you're not trying to be ambushed in the parking lot. But I mean, yeah, you have to make it known that. Oh,
Yeah, you have to report
at least
it,
just
that's it.
tell someone
That's
that
it.
this is a really big tip, and make sure that it's not because the person wants something from you that you're not willing to give. So that's the difference between the tip, and you kind of know the boundaries. And a lot of times, you know when someone is giving you something because they want something. A lot of times, not all the time.
And likewise,
You do know.
Lamide, the person that came to the restaurant, you did not demand that money.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
It was
Right.
willingly
Service,
given.
yes.
That's where giving. Please don't forget, because we say we are Christian doesn't mean that we must not be kind-hearted.
Yeah.
And that's
You can be
that's
generous.
what
Oh,
great
yeah.
generosity
Yeah.
is part of Christianity.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you must not be forced to do it, or you must not do it with an intention, okay, of subverting justice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's the balance to this. So the tip is a bit different, okay. And you find that in countries like UK, it's even accepted. Is it accepted? And the percentage is stated there.
It's already stated there.
Okay, and they book it, they record it and all that.
So what about this scenario that happens with females, actually, especially in this part of the world, where you want to do something and then they're telling you, well, you have to sleep with XXX person before this can be achieved. Is this, and you know that, honestly speaking, this is not, is it the same thing as money? Is would you even, well, would we say that that's almost like
I
more
wouldn't say that's a
valuable?
bribe. I would say that's, that's sexual harassment.
Yes.
That's almost aggravated assault in my mind, because you're literally basically putting a foot on someone's neck and saying, unless you do this,
Yes.
and you're giving up your body, and that's not right anyway. So apart from being a sexually violent sort of offense,
yes.
it's harassment, it's extortion.
Yeah.
Because you're now
It's
forcing someone to
extortion.
give something that, if someone willingly wants to sleep with you, let's not bring morals into it. Everybody has their personal morals and whatever. If they want to sleep with you, they will sleep with you. If they get something from that, then that's fine, because they willingly slept with you, that's fine. Whatever your moral or compass is. But when you force someone, when you force someone to do that, then it goes even beyond the realm of a bribe. It now goes into extortion and harassment and all that stuff, because now it's almost rape. It's actually rape, because you're forcing someone to give up. Yeah, it's rape.
Against consent is rape.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's totally wrong.
Okay, so Pastor, just as we round up, I want to ask you, what can I do practically? I am a Christian, I've lived in Nigeria, I've tipped policemen, I've tipped LASMA, and so many other different things. And it's, like you said, it's an everyday thing. How can I practically not do these things?
The first thing is to repent. Repent means a change of mind and a change of attitude, towards God, because you must acknowledge that it's a sin. If you don't acknowledge the sin sincerely, there will not be the inner propellant, to change your ways. The second thing is that also you must get acquainted very well with the laws of the land. People perish for lack of knowledge. So get acquainted with that. Okay.
Yes.
Then resolve. I will do the right thing even if it costs me.
And just to add to that, something that we were discussing before we started as well, just something he said about, for example, going to the passport office, making sure due process is, done. If you know regularly a passport will take 3 weeks to get ready, what stops you from going 6 weeks beforehand? So that nobody will give you story and then, you're traveling on Tuesday and I just put my web, oh my gosh, now I have to look for who to pay. Or the same thing with, as you said, ignorance, knowing the laws of the land, knowing that, if you get pulled over, this is what you need to have and this is what you need to give. If you don't have this is what you need to do. When you're acquainted with that, when you're educated with that, and I'm not all the time anyway, I'm guilty of that. When you're acquainted with that, then it's harder for them to sort of, twist you. And I will say, sometimes as a Christian, sometimes you are forced to give that bribe, and then it's extortion. For example, if you're in a police station and you're basically trapped and they're not letting you go until you give that 5K or whatever. If you don't want to sleep in a police station, you might have to give that 5K. It's not necessarily about resolve. It's now about protecting yourself, because you might get hurt, you might get harmed, you might get attacked or whatever by the same people who are protecting you. So I think sometimes we do have to give ourselves that little out in our mind, in where you're in danger. If that is the only thing that will get you out of danger, perhaps that's what you can do. And I think God will forgive. Am I right?
Well, the basic thing is that God judges the extorters when it's at the peril of your life. Okay, because that's one of the things they accused the kings of Israel, that they extorted the people. They raped, in quote, the widows and the fatherless and all that. So he's against that. He fires the extorter, because he knows that you are at their mercy. Okay, so.
I hope so too. I'm sure that they are. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been fantastic and super, super enlightening. And I hope that the audience at home have taken something away. I know that I definitely have. Till next time, my name is Fumbi Ogunbanwo. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.